So for today's video discussion, we will talk about inventories. So in this chapter, malalaman natin paano ba nire-record o ina-account ng isang government agency yung kanilang mga inventories. At the same time, malalaman din natin ano ba yung mga procedures pagdating sa requisition, receipt, and disposition ng mga inventories ng isang government agency or government entity. So to start, let's define first what is inventory. So inventory is defined as assets held for sale or distribution in the course of operations. O ito yung mas kilala natin sa tawag na finished goods. So these are also assets in the process of production for sale or distribution. So ito naman yung mga work in process. And lastly, these are the assets that in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or distributed in the rendering of services. Or ito yung raw materials and supplies. Since we already know what is inventory, punta naman tayo sa paano ba kinaklasify ng isang government agency yung kanilang mga inventories. So, merong 5 classification ng inventories pagdating sa government agency. So, yung first classification is inventory held for sale. So, yung inventory held for sale, halos same lang naman siya sa inventory held for sale ng isang business entity. So, ito yung mga inventories, ang mga goods na hawak ng isang government agency, and yung purpose nila is para ibenta. So, example nga niya is medicines for sale in government pharmacies. Next na classification is inventory held for distribution. So, these are goods na hawak nila na subject for distribution. And yung example niya is rice and other welfare goods held for distribution. Tapos, next na classification is yung inventory held for manufacturing. So, same lang din sa inventory held for manufacturing sa isang business entity. Ito yung mga raw materials, work in process, and yung mga finished goods. Next na classification is inventory held for consumption. So, among this classification, isa to sa mga unique pagdating sa government agency. Why? Kasi nga, di ba, sa business entity, usually, yung inventory held for consumption, ito yung mga office supplies. And di ba, usually, sa isang business entity, yung mga office supplies, they are recorded as other asset. And yung accounting treatment nila usually is parang prepaid, di ba? Pero pagdating sa government agency, these office supplies are treated as inventory. And yung last na classification is yung semi-expendable property. So, isa din to sa mga unique pagdating sa government agency. Kasi, ano ba yung semi-expendable property? So, semi-expendable property, this consists of machinery, equipment, furniture and fixtures, and similar items that are not capitalized as PPE because their costs are below the 15,000 capitalization threshold for PPE. So, di ba usually, pagdating sa business entity, wala namang ganitong threshold. Once na, kunyari, sa PPE siya, machinery, equipment, furniture, and features, it is already treated as PPE. So, marirecord na siya under PPE. Pero pagdating sa government agency, kapag yung mga items na to, yung mga machinery, equipment, etc., so if yung amount niya is hindi lumalagpas ng 15,000, then it will not be recorded as PPE. It will be recorded as inventory. So, ano ba yung mga policies applied pagdating sa semi-expendable property? So, yung mga policies niya is, first, kapag yung semi-expendable property, which were recognized as PPE, will be reclassified to the affected accounts. Second is these tangible items should be recognized as expenses upon issue to end user. So, kapag na-issue na sa end user, then it will be, magre-record na tayo ng expense. So, paano ba na-establish yung accountability over semi-expendable property? So, na-establish siya by mag-i-issue tayo ng inventory custodian slip to end user of semi-expendable property. So, yung accountability should be extinguished upon return of the item to the property and supply division unit or in case of loss upon approval of the relief from property accountability. So, alam na natin yung classification ng inventories pagdating sa government agency. So, punta na tayo sa measurement ng inventories. So, paano ba mini-measure yung inventories? So, first, yung initial measurement. So, inventories are initially measured at cost. So, parang yung mga inventories, nire-record siya at cost. So, ano ba yung cost or ano yung mga ano yung nagko-comprise sa cost? So, cost comprises the following. So, first is yung purchase cost. As you'll note, yung purchase cost, it excludes trade discounts, rebates, and other similar deductions in purchase price. And isa pa sa mga nagko-comprise sa cost is yung mga direct costs incurred in bringing the asset to its intended location and condition. So, an example nun, mga freight costs, conversion costs, such as yung mga cost, labor, and production overhead for manufactured items. So, di ba sabi ko, yung mga inventories initially measured at cost, pero merong exception. Ano yun? So, first is yung mga inventories received from non-exchange transaction. So, bakit siya exception? Kasi this kind of inventories, they are initially measured at acquisition date per value. Isa pa, sa exception niya is yung mga agricultural produce. Kasi yung mga agricultural produce, they are initially measured at per value less cost to sell at the point of harvest. So, since ano na natin yung initial measurement, punta na tayo sa before tayo mag-proceed sa subsequent measurement, ito yung mga journal entries para sa initial recognition. So, kapag inventory held for sale, entry niya will be mentioned as inventory, debit, credit, accounts payable. Kapag naman inventory held for distribution, the entry will be per goods for distribution, debit, credit, accounts payable. Pag naman inventory held for manufacturing, usually ang entry niya will be raw materials inventory, debit, credit, accounts payable. Tapos, kapag naman inventory held for consumption, entries niya will be office supplies inventory, debit, credit, accounts payable. And lastly, kapag semi-expandable property, entry niya will be semi-expandable machinery, debit, credit, accounts payable. So, note ko lang, hindi siya pizza. So, depende naman siya kung, for example, sa semi-expandable property. Pag yung semi-expandable property is pertaining sa furniture and fixtures, then yung magiging entry niya will be semi-expandable furniture and fixtures instead na machinery. So, depende siya kung anong klaseng inventory ba yung nire-record. So, later, magkakaroon, i-explain ko din yung illustrative entry pagdating sa inventories. So, since you already know, ano yung initial measurement ng inventories, punta na tayo sa subsequent measurement. So, yung subsequent measurement, dalawa siya. So, dito mapapansin nyo yung difference niya sa business entity. Kasi di ba, pagdating sa business entity, usually, ang subsequent measurement lang niya is yung lower cost and net realizable value or LC and RV. Pero pagdating sa government agency, dalawa siya. So, first, syempre, yung lower of cost and net realizable value, yung LC and RV. And second is yung lower of cost and current replacement cost. So, yung LC and RV, these are per goods held for sale. While yung lower of cost and current replacement cost is pertaining naman siya sa per goods held for distribution. So, ano ba yung difference ng net realizable value sa current replacement cost? So, yung net realizable value or NRV, it is estimated selling price less estimated cost of completion and estimated selling or disposal cost. So, parang yung NRV, ito yung magkano yung value if dinispose mo siya. So, parang as if ibebenta mo siya at reporting date. So, kapag ibebenta mo, parang magkano mo siya maibebenta. And yung amount, yung yung amount kung magkano siya maibibenta, less mo dun yung completion cost and cost of disposal. On the other hand, yung current replacement cost naman, this pertains to cost the entity will incur to acquire the asset on the reporting date. Meaning, as if mag-acquire tayo ng same inventory at reporting date. So, magkano yung cost niya na at the end of reporting date, for example, ano ba? Sige, for example, semi-expandable, helper distribution. Kunyari, yung welfare goods. So, parang at the end of reporting date, magkano na nabebenta yung magkano na yung cost ng welfare good na yon. So, ganun yung current replacement cost. So, next is yung mga cost formulas. So, cost formulas, ano ba yung mga formulas na ginagamit natin para makuha yung cost? Kasi, di ba, yung subsequent measurement natin is lower of cost and lower of cost and net realizable value or lower of cost and current replacement cost. So, paano natin makukuha yung cost at the end of reporting period? So, yung ginagawa natin cost formula pagdating sa government agency is dalawa. So, parang isa ulit to sa difference niya sa business entity. Kasi di ba sa business entity, marami tayong ginagamit na cost formula. So, pero meron din siyang specific sa business entity, meron din siyang specific identification. Tapos di ba meron tayong typo. Tapos meron ding weighted average cost for both periodic and perpetual. So, sa government agency, dalawa lang. So, una is yung specific identification. So, kaya natin gagamitin yung specific identification. So, gagamitin lang siya for items that are not ordinarily interchangeable and those that are segregated for specific projects. So, para naman kapag ordinarily interchangeable, so dito na papasok si weighted average cost because it is used for large number of items of inventory that are ordinarily interchangeable. So this should be applied under a perpetual inventory system. So before I proceed, parang bakit ba weighted average cost? So actually talaga, sa IPSAS or sa PPSAS, kapag, or di ba, pag ordinary interchangeable, pwede mong gamitin either FIFO or weighted average. Pero, ma'am, pwede lang palang either FIFO or weighted average. Pero bakit weighted average cost yung ginagamit natin for ordinarily interchangeable? So, mas pinili nila yung weighted average cost for consistency and uniformity in costing inventories. So, mas parang pinili nila na i-adopt yung weighted average cost as cost formula for ordinarily interchangeable items. Tapos, di ba, remember, yung weighted average cost, di ba, meron siyang, merong pang periodic, merong perpetual. Pero sa government entity o sa government agency, ang gagamit natin is yung weighted average cost for perpetual inventory system. Why? Kasi, government entities shall use the perpetual inventory system. So, under this system, purchases, sales, and other transactions affecting inventory are recorded in the inventory and cost of sales account as appropriate. So, moreover, stock cards and stock ledgers are maintained. So, this enable a retrieval of information of cost and quantities of inventories sold and on hand at any given point of time. Tapos, kasi, tingin nila, yung paggamit ng perpetual inventory system, it will be resulted to a more accurate inventory records and a running total for the cost of goods sold in each period. So the system requires accounting records to show the amount of inventory on hand at all times through the maintenance of SLC by the accounting division unit and stock card. So, tingin nila mas accurate kasi nga, di ba, kada purchase, kada may nagpo-purchase tayo, parang kada magbebenta tayo, di ba? Basta may mangyayari sa kada mag-purchase or kada magbebenta, lagi na nire-reflect na siya agad sa inventory. That's why mas pinili nila or mas tingin nila na mas appropriate na gamitin yung perpetual inventory system. But as you note, purchases of supplies and materials out of the petty cash fund for immediate use or on emergency cases are directly as expense. Dahil dito, yung FIFO cost formula and yung periodic inventory system are not used by government entities. Okay, balik tayo sa weighted average cost. So under this formula, a new weighted average unit cost is computed after every purchase. So parang, di ba, every magkakaroon ka ng purchase na may different unit cost, nagbabago yung parang weighted average na unit cost. So yung computed average costs are used in determining the cost of goods sold and inventory on hand. So accordingly, cost of sales and ending inventory are stated at average cost rather than at the actual cost of the inventory sold or on hand. So etong method na to, mas kilala din natin siya sa tawag na moving average. So I know you're already familiar with it since this is tackled or napag-aralan niyo na siya sa par nyo. So I will not further discuss na yung weighted average cost or yung moving average. So next is recognition as an expense. So kailan tayo mag-recognize ng expense ng isang inventory? So the carrying amount of an inventory is recognized as expense in the period it is sold. So kapag this is applicable sa mga inventories held for sale. Tapos, mag-recognize naman tayo ng expense kapag distributed. And this is applicable para sa mga inventories held for distribution. Tapos, mag-recognize tayo in the period it is exchanged. Tapos, mag-recognize din tayo ng expense in the period it is consumed. And this is applicable sa mga inventories held for consumption. And lastly, we recognize expense in the period it is written down to its NRV or current replacement cost. Only the portion of the carrying amount in excess of the NRV or CRC is recognized as expense. So dito sa panglima na to, mas kilala natin sa tawag na impairment loss. So ano ba yung impairment loss? Or paano ba natin masasabi na impaired yung inventory or yung inventory? So, an inventory is said to be impaired if the cost of inventories held for sale is higher than the net realizable value, or the cost of inventories held for distribution or consumption is higher than the current replacement cost. So, yung difference between the cost and net realizable value or current replacement cost shall be recognized as an expense in the financial statement. So, example tayo. So, kunwari, held for sale. So, di ba kapag held for sale, ang subsequent measurement niya is LCNRV or lower of cost and net realizable value. So, assume natin na yung cost niya is 4 million. And yung net realizable value niya is 3,880,000. So, dahil mas mababa yung net realizable value, mag-recognize tayo ng impairment loss. And this impairment loss and yung impairment loss is recorded as expense. So, paano ba muna tayo nag-arrive sa net realizable value? So, net realizable value is computed as estimated selling price less estimated cost of disposal. So, sabi ko nga, di ba, yung net realizable value as if magbebenta ka. As if ibebenta mo siya at the end of reporting period. And parang ano yung amount, parang anong price mo siya mabibenta. So, yun yung concept ng net realizable value. And since meron tayong dahil mas mababa yung NRV kaysa sa cost, meron tayong i-record na impairment loss. So, paano natin siya i-entry? Debit, impairment loss inventories, 120,000. Credit, merchandise inventory, 120,000. Para naman pag held for distribution or consumption. So, pag dito, di ba, yung subsequent measurement niya is lower cost and current replacement cost. So, assume natin na yung office supplies inventory is 2 million, while yung cost niya, while yung welfare goods for distribution, 1 million naman yung cost. And yung current replacement cost is 1,750,000 and 850,000 respectively. So, dahil mas mababa yung current replacement cost kaysa sa mismong cost, then dapat yung mga inventories na to, yung office supplies inventory and welfare goods for distribution, i-record natin siya at the amount of 1,750,000 and 850,000 respectively. So dahil mas mababa, magre-recognize tayo ng impairment loss. And impairment loss is recognized as an expense. So paano natin siya i-record? Still, we will use the account impairment loss inventories debit 400,000. Kasi 250,000 plus 150,000. Tapos, babawasan natin yung office supplies inventory ng 250,000, while yung welfare goods for distribution, babawasan natin ng 150,000. Kasi nga, di ba dapat 1,750,000 yung 1,750,000 yung dapat yung magiging balance ng office supplies inventory at the end of the reporting period, while dapat 850,000 naman yung magiging balance ng welfare goods for distribution. So, what if naman pag for manufacturing? So, for example, pero impairment sa raw materials inventory at the end of reporting date na 15,000. So, still, gagamitin natin account is yung impairment loss inventories 15,000 and credit natin naman is yung raw materials inventory since yung raw materials inventory yung na-impaired. So, 15,000. So, if in case na may reversal ng write-down of raw materials inventory at the end of reporting date, yung gagawin lang natin is ibabalik na natin yung 15,000. So, it will be debit raw materials inventory 15,000, credit accumulated surplus or deficit na 15,000. So, sige, next is yung illustrative entries o yung mga illustrative sample. So, pagdating sa inventory held for sale, kapag daw nag-recognize tayo ng inventories for sale amounting to 1,000, syempre mag-recognize tayo ng merchandise inventory, debit, credit, cash modified disbursement system, regular. Kasi nga, bibili tayo ng merchandise inventory. Tapos, for example, yung merchandise inventory na nabili natin, naibenta din natin agad. So, to recognize sale of merchandise or 1.5 at 20% discount. So, dahil nakabenta tayo, debit, cash, collecting officer, debit, tapos recognize natin yung sales discount na 300 since meron 20% discount. And last, credit is yung sales revenue. So, dito di siya nakalagay pero di ba as per PD 1445, once na makakollect tayo, dapat natin siyang i-remit. So, isa pa niyang entry will be cash, treasury agency deposit, 1, 2, credit, cash collecting officers, 1, 2. Tapos, diba, dahil we are used si government agency, gumagamit siya ng perpetual inventory system. So, in case na may nabenta, i-update din natin yung inventory account. So, dahil doon, mag-recognize tayo ng cost of sales, debit na 1,000. Since yun yung cost ng merchandise inventory na nabenta, then mag-credit tayo ng merchandise inventory amounting to 1,000. So next will be inventory held for distribution naman. So, paano naman magiging yung takbo ng entries for inventory held for distribution? Pero wait, I remember. Before I proceed, note ko lang ulit, yung sales revenue and cost of sales, di ba? I-close natin siya sa revenue and expense summary. And yung revenue expense summary, i-close natin siya sa accumulated surplus or deficit. As per, di ba, kung naalala niyo yung discussion natin sa chapter 3, isa yun sa mga closing entries. Next is yung inventory held for distribution. So, paano naman magiging entry niya? So, pag kunwari, nag-purchase tayo ng welfare goods for distribution, then ang entry natin will be welfare goods for distribution to 2,000. Tapos accounts payable, 2,000. And ibabayaran na natin yung welfare goods sa purchase natin. Then, syempre, extinguish natin yung accounts payable. So, it will be debit, accounts payable, 2,000. And cash modified disbursement system, MDS regular na 2,000. So, kailan tayo mag-recognize ng expense? Kapag na-issue or na-distribute yung mga goods na yun. That's why, yung magiging entry niya kapag na-issue na or kapag na-distribute na yung goods will be debit welfare goods expenses, 2,000, credit welfare goods for distribution. Tapos, welfare goods expense, it will be closed sa revenue expense summary, and yung revenue expense summary, i-close siya sa accumulated surplus or deficit. Next, para magiging entry, pag inventory held for manufacturing. So, yung usual na alam natin, di ba? So, kung nag-purchase tayo ng raw materials, then raw materials, inventory, debit, credit, cash modified disbursement system regular. So, kapag nag-incur na tayo ng direct labor, so direct labor na account, debit, credit, cash modified disbursement system regular. Tapos, kapag nag-regulars din tayo ng manufacturing overhead, so manufacturing overhead, debit, credit, cash, MDS regular. So, yung tatlo na yun, raw materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead, kapag dadali na siya sa work in process, then the entry will be work in process inventory, debit, credit, raw materials inventory, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Tapos, kapag yung work in process, meron nangyari. So, di ba, yung work in process na yun, ililipat na siya as finished good. So, kapag ina-transfer na natin yung from work in process to finished good, the entry will be finished goods inventory, debit, credit, work in process inventory. So, meron tayong finished good. So, dahil may finished good na tayo, pwede na siyang ibenta. And for example, kunwari, may nabenta na. So, same lang sa entry ng merchandising or yung inventories held for sale. So, di ba, pag nagbenta tayo, then it will be debit, cash collecting officer, credit, sales revenue. And since nakakolekta tayo, so i-remit natin siya sa treasury. So, it will be debit, cash, treasury, agency deposit, credit, cash collecting officers. Again, dahil nga we're using perpetual inventory system, once na nagbenta tayo, i-update natin yung cash, yung inventory, yung inventory account. That's why, pag nakabenta din tayo, mag-recognize tayo ng expenses. So, yung cost of sale, debit, credit, finished goods, inventory. And cost of sale is an expense account. Since I know naman, alam niyo yun. Next, kapag naman inventory held for consumption, paano magiging entry niya? So, as simple lang as pag nag-purchase tayo, then office supplies, inventory, debit, credit, accounts payable. Tapos kapag babayaran na, edi accounts payable, debit, credit, cash, MDS regular. Kapag naman gagamitin na natin, i-issue or i-consume na natin yung office supplies, then mag-recognize tayo ng expense. That's why yung entry niya will be office supplies, expenses, debit, credit, office supplies, inventory. And last, kapag naman may semi-expendable machinery and equipment. So, maraming klase, pwedeng furniture and fixtures, mga ganun. Pero for this sample, mas pinili ko yung machinery and equipment. So, for example, nag-purchase tayo ng air conditioning. So, it will be recorded as machinery. So, debit, semi-expendable machinery, credit, cash, MDS, regular. And ipapansin nyo, di ba, yung balance niya is 13,000. Kasi nga, semi-expendable property, ito yung mga PPE accounts o yung mga PPE items na yung kanyang amount is below 15,000. So dahil below 15,000, it will not be capitalizable or it will not be treated as PPE. But instead, it will be treated as inventory. So next, nag-purchase din daw ng printer. So yung printer will be recorded as office equipment. So debit, semi-expendable office equipment, credit, cash, MDS, regular. So kapag in-issue na yung semi-expendable machinery and office equipment to end users, magre-recognize na tayo ng expenses. So that's why yung naka-debit sa atin is semi-expendable machinery and equipment expenses. Tapos naka-credit yung mga inventory, which is yung semi-expendable machinery and semi-expendable office equipment. Tapos, paano if may repair pagdating sa air conditioning? Para bang makaka-affect mo siya sa cost ng inventory? The answer is no. Yung repair, ano siya? Treated as expense. So parang same lang din sa business entity kasi yung mga repair and maintenance, they are not capitalizable but they are treated as expense. So that's why yung entry natin will be repair and maintenance, semi-expendable machinery and equipment na 4,000 and credit will be 5,000. So mapapansin nyo din yung account code niya nag-start sa 5. So means it is an expense account. So since alam na natin paano ba nire-record or paano ba ina-account yung inventories, punta na tayo sa receipt and disposition of inventories. So paano ba nila ina-account? O paano ba yung accounting system ng inventory? So yung inventory accounting system, it consists of the system of monitoring, controlling, and recording of acquisition and disposal of inventory. So the system starts with the receipt of purchase inventory items. So yung requesting office in need of the inventory items up to the property and supply division unit as determined that the items are not available in stock should prepare and cause the approval of the purchase request. So mas i-elaborate pa siya sa next slide. So actually, di lang siya receipt and disposition. So yung receipt, mag-iset muna siya sa requisition. So, syempre, first, yung first step niya is yung end users magpe-prepare siya ng purchase request form. So, parang si end user mag-request siya kung saang department applicable, kung saang department dapat i-request is mag-fill up siya ng purchase request para ilalagay niya doon yung request niyang inventory. Then, after niya i-fill up yung purchase request form, ibibigay niya na yun kay purchasing unit. Then, si purchasing unit, magpe-prepare na siya ng purchase order. Per note ko lang, yung purchase request form, yung purchase request form, ito yung magiging basis pa-prepare ng purchase order. Again, note ko din, yung end users, ito yung mga individuals who will actually be using the items. So, it should be noted that as part of internal control, only the appropriate end users are allowed to make purchase requests for the items they need. So, it will be inappropriate for an office clerk to make a purchase request for cleaning materials. Kasi nga, office clerk siya. So, parang, saan niya gagamitin yung cleaning materials, di ba? Hindi naman, parang, hindi mo niya gagamitin yun. So, dapat, yung mag-request is, parang, yung i-request niyang inventory is, yung kailangan talaga niya. So, si purchasing unit, ayun. So, di ba, after gawin ni end user, after niya i-prepare yung purchase request, ibibigay niya yung kay purchasing unit, tapos si purchasing unit, magpe-prepare na siya ng purchase order. So, ano ba yung purchase order? So, purchase order, it is the document issued to the supplier when making a purchase. So, it indicates the specifications, quantities, and agreed prices of the items being purchased. In purchase order, it serves as the contract between the entity and the supplier. Per note ko lang, di ba, pag once na ma-receive ng purchasing unit yung purchase order, bukod sa parang if ever na yung nakita niya ay sa purchase request, tapos nakita niya yung amount ng inventory na nire-request ni end user is amounting to 1,000 and above, then kailangan nilang mag-canvas ng at least 3 suppliers. So, always remember, ulit, kapag 1,000 above, yung item na yung inventory na nire-request ni end user, then required na maghanap or required na mag-canvas si purchasing unit ng tatlong suppliers. And usually, kung sino yung pinakamababa yung offer among those 3, at least 3 suppliers, then dun sila pipili. Next. So, kunwari, nakabili na. And na-deliver na yung purchase item. So, kapag na-deliver na yung purchase item, yung property supply division, isassign niya as ng receive, isassign niya yung receive portion ng delivery receipt or DR na document. And magpe-prepare siya ng inspection and acceptance report o yung IAR. So, yung IAR, it will be used by the property inspector in inspecting and accepting the delivered items. So, parang once na ma-deliver sa atin yung purchase items, bali hindi mo siya babayaran or gagamitin. So, gagawin mo na is kailangan mo na parang i-inspect mo nila yung na-receive na item. Kasi siyempre, titingnan nila, baka may kulang pala. Kunyari, 10 binili, tapos siyam lang dumating. O kaya, titingnan nila, kasi baka may damage yung isang item. Ganun. Bali, i-inspect mo na nila. Tapos, once na ma-prepare ni property or supply division, yung IAR, ipa-forward niya yung delivery receipt, yung inspection acceptance report, and pati na yung purchase order sa property inspector. Tapos, si property inspector, once na ma-receive niya yung tatlong document na yon, mag-start na siyang i-inspect yung mga na-receive na item. So, parang i-check nila if naka-confirm ba yung mga delivered items with the specifications na nakalagay sa purchase order and sa delivery receipt. Tapos, i-indicate din niya yung result ng inspection sa IAR. Kapag nakita niya among 10 items, mayroong isang sira, ganun, or may damage. So, yung mga rejected na deliveries, ibabalik niya yun sa supplier. O kaya kapag naman may kulang, sasabihin niya sa supplier na, ay, kulang po yung dineliver nyo. Parang 10 in-order namin, pero siyam lang yung dumating. So, once na i-accept niya or i-indicate niya yung result ng inspection niya, yung property inspector, ipo-forward niya yung copies ng DR, IAR, tsaka ng PO both sa Property Supply Division and sa Accounting Division for recording. So, una muna is yung si Property Supply Division. So, once na ma-receive niya yung DR, IAR, tsaka yung PO, parang i-record niya na yung accepted delivery sa stock card. So, yung magre-record nun is yung si stock card keeper. So, ano ba yung stock card? So, stock card, it shows the quantities of all receipts and issuances of inventory as well as available balance at any given point in time. Tapos, di ba, supplies division under through stock card keeper, i-record niya yung accepted delivery sa stock card. On the other hand, si accounting division naman, i-record naman niya yung accepted deliveries in the book of accounts and in the supplies ledger card. So, yung SLC o yung supplies ledger card, it shows both the quantities and monetary amounts of all receipts and issuances of inventory at na rin yung available balance at any given point in time. So, as part of internal control, yung stock card na maintained by the property supply division and yung supplies ledger card na mini-maintain naman ng accounting division must be periodically reconciled. So, dapat pareho sila. Same sila ng balance. So, okay na. Na-record na ni Property Supplies Division yung accepted delivery sa stock card. Tapos, na-record na rin ni Accounting Division yung accepted delivery sa SLC tsaka sa book of accounts. Ano na yung susunod na gagawin? Susunod na gagawin is yung Property or Supply Division, mag-isa na siya mag-prepare ng disbursement voucher. Kasi nga, syempre, dahil na-accept yung delivery, babayaran na. And then, yung na-prepare nilang disbursement voucher, ipa-forward nila yon together yung lahat ng supporting document sa accounting division. And si accounting division, ipa-process niya na yung payment. So, tapos na. Ano yung susunod kapag na-process na yung payment? Susunod na is yung disposition. So, kapag by since na-accept na yung deliveries, parang ibibigay na ba siya agad kay end user? The answer is no. So, si end user, kapag kailangan mo na mag-prepare ng RIS o yung requisition and issue slip para i-request na i-issue na sa kanila yung inventory. So, di ba parang mapapansin nyo, at the start, kapag nag-requisition, si end user, mag-fill up siya ng purchase request form para mag-request. Tapos, kapag dumating na yung order nila, yung request nilang inventory, gagawa ulit sila ng mag-fill sila ng panibagong gagawa ulit sila ng panibagong document, which is yung requisition and issue slip. And itong requisition and issue slip, parang ito yung ibibigay nila para ma-issue yung or para maibigay sa kanila yung mga inventory na ni-request nila. So, after ma-prepare ni end user yung RIS, si Properties and Supply Division naman, magpe-prepare naman siya ng Report of Supplies and Materials used. Report of Supplies and Materials issued by RSMI. So, RSMI will be used by the stock card keeper in updating the stock card. And pati na rin ng accounting division in journalizing item use. So, yung, di ba, pagkagawa ng RSMI ng Property Supply Division, ibibigay nila yun sa Accounting Division. And si Accounting Division, gagamitin nila yung RSMI para i-update or i-record, i-update yung stock ledger account and para i-record nila yun sa books nila. So ano yung mga iba pang added documents sa disposition ng inventory? So merong 4. So first is yung waste materials report. So it is used to report wasted materials such as destroyed spare parts and other spoilages. Second na document is yung report on physical count of inventory. So it is used in reporting the results of physical count. Next is yung report of accountability for accountable forms. So it is used to report the movement and status of accountable forms. So yung accountable forms, ito yung mga official receipts, yung mga disbursement voucher, ganun. Kasi, di ba, parang isa siya sa responsibility ng collecting officer. So kailangan nila i-account. Parang at the end of the period, or for example, at the end of the period, parang kailangan nilang i-reconcile yun. Parang titingnan nila kung ilan ba yung number ng accountable portion ng issue, ilan yung ending, ilan yung na-receive, ganun. So parang kaya i-check nila na parang i-check nila na recon yung mga accountables na na-receive and yung mga na-issue. Kaya kaya gumagawa sila ng report of accountability for accountable forms. And last na document is yung inventory custodian slip. So it is prepared when issuing semi-expandable property. So that ends our discussion for inventories.